Stay tuned and let's take a look at these Marvel Legends MCU Outriders. Pow and welcome back to the channel, Dan Who Reviews. As always, my name is Dan W. Make sure you are following me on Instagram at It's Dan Who. And remember now you can hit that join button and become a channel member as well. Either show some love or join the members club. Much appreciated. And how about something from the Marvel Cinematic Universe? As it feels like a while we have got anything from the MCU. So how about today, the Marvel Legends Avengers Infinity War Outriders 2-pack. These are the fodder alien villains that Thanos sent to Wakanda in Infinity War, but they also were part of that big end battle in Avengers Endgame. So I welcome the opportunity to spruce up our villain shelves with some of these fodder villains, as we usually get the main villains, but these are the ones that the Avengers constantly cut through, so it's nice for some setups and displays, and these are going to look great on the shelf with the Black Order and Thanos, I am sure. So it's an expensive 2-pack, granted, and it's not for everybody, but I brought 2 of these, so I've got 4 of them, and it creates this nice wraparound image if I got one more. So it's plastic free packaging as it's Pulse exclusive, doesn't bother me. 2 in the box, we get the Avengers logo up top, spin it round, you get a digital render of the figure, and it says it's 7.7 inches, which is going to be massive. Of course, it's a 2-pack, so you get 2 of them, and you get 1 interchangeable head. So genuinely curious about this one. Let's get it open. Here we have both the Outriders out of the packaging with just that 1 interchangeable head as an accessory. So definitely lackluster with accessories. It's a higher price point, so people want to feel that value. But I can't think what else they should have come with. I'm going to look at this from the perspective, it's quite a deep cut character, not exactly appealing to the mainstream. This isn't exactly Captain America or Spider-Man. This is for those people that are trying to world build their collections. It's completely unique in sculpt, completely pinless, some really nice design and texture, and it is massive as well. The box says 7.7 inches, but standing up straight you're looking at closer to 8 inches, which is arguably closer to Build-A-Figure scale. So it's like a Build-A-Figure 2-pack, but they are going to be imposing on the shelf regardless if they're in your comic display or MCU display, because remember, their comic design is very similar to what we've seen in the MCU. So you create your own rules. I definitely think you can make that work, but before we do comparisons, let's take a closer look. Zooming in to check out this head sculpt first, the one with the fins attached. So you only get 1 of this head sculpt in the packaging. Definitely giving me alien vibes here with the pincers and the sort of teeth and the jaw. There is a little bit of red paint in the jaw as well, but there is no articulation there. It's just sort of a firm plastic. So it's sort of black, definitely sculpted texture throughout and some lines and the gold trim as well. So yeah, it's got the gold fins with the pincers either side of the jaw, with the teeth. Yeah, very obscure. Now the head is on a dumbbell joint, so there is a little bit of movement. So you can go back and forward, like you can bury the chin a little bit, or they get the head going up, but not a lot granted. Obviously there's swivel, but not a lot of tilt. And if I take that off, you can see it's like a double dumbbell joint for the interchangeable heads, which will pop on and off no problem at all. So yeah, this head sculpt you only get 1 of. It has the gold fins either side, so maybe this can be the leader in your squad or something. But yeah, that's the first one. The other head sculpt doesn't have the pincers or the fins attached to the head, so it's just like a wider jaw, so you can see more of that red mouth, and then otherwise just the gold teeth. Again, still gives me alien vibes, as you can't really see any eyes. It's very featureless, which I think is obviously intentional, but you still get the sculpted lines, and again, the same sort of range of articulation. Now remember, you do get a second one of this exact same head sculpt in the packaging in case you wanted both of your Outriders to look exactly the same. So yeah, this is the only head sculpt you get 2 of. The other one with the fins, you only get 1 of. So I'll show them both on the screen now, and you can make your mind up. You can have one with the fins or the ones without, but I think the fins can be like the leader, and then the rest of the drones can just be the regular open jaw. So let's stay zoomed in so we can take a closer look at some of the textures and details on this unique sculpt, as I definitely don't think there is any reuse on this very obscure pure character design. And the closer you look, the more you can see like this sculpted line work and the textures. The colours are definitely black and gold, but it's more of like a bluish or greyish tint as well underneath my lights, with the red in the jaw standing out amongst that. And the closer you look at all the texture across this double torso, and then on the back from the top of the head running all the way down both of the torsos, you've got like that sculpted spine with some of the gold highlights, some more gold at the top of the thigh. You can see the thigh cut. You've got the double jointed pinless knees, some more gold down here, and then these weird sort of creepy chicken feet, which you would think would make him hard to stand, but he can stand up no problem at all, even though he is so big. And if I zoom out just a tiny bit, you can see that each one of these arms are independent, have their own sort of points of articulation. So that's 4 double jointed pinless elbows and 4 of these creepy sort of claws with those gold nails as well. So yeah, the articulation on this guy is actually very, very smooth. Let's check that out. I'm going to try my best to show off all the points of articulation here, because he has a lot of limbs and a lot of points of articulation. So the top 2 arms are a little bit thicker, they are the same, and these bottom 2 arms are a little bit skinnier and they are the same. So the top and bottom arms are different from each other, but they have the same points of articulation. Let's zoom in and check that out. Okay, so the shoulder is on this big thick shoulder joint. It goes all the way around. That ball joint goes up and down, no problem at all. Look at that, loads of movement. Bicep swivel, double jointed elbow, and then a hinge in the wrist as well. The lower shoulder is basically just a little bit further back, different sort of shoulder joint, but still have that great range. Bicep swivel, and again, double jointed elbow with the hinge in the hand as well. And look, this hand can go all the way up and still sort of touch his face. So lots of range for those longer arms. If I put that at the back as well, you can sort of see like the bottom arms are actually a little bit longer, so you can do some better poses with them. But the joint for the shoulder is a little bit further back, which is probably what makes them longer. But yeah, that is basically symmetrical with this side. So what that side can do, this side can do. And you can see these 2 shoulder joints are in this upper torso, which is on a ball joint. So you get some rocker, and you also get some back and forth as well. So lots of movement up there, as well as your swivel. So that's where your swivel is going to be, on this upper torso. The lower torso is sort of elongated, and then you can see the crunch is right there at the waist. So the crunch will go forward and back like so we can lean back or we can lean forward. The legs, there is a thigh cut just there. You can probably see the thigh cut. The legs will go out that much, but the legs won't straighten. The knee is like sort of sculpted in that way. So there's always like a little crookedness to the leg. And then the chicken feet, there's no articulation at the sort of ankle, but he does have a pivot and a rocker at this sort of toe. So it's not a toe joint, but there is a hinge there. So again, it sort of does sit flat though, and it does rocker a little bit. So there's a pivot and a hinge on his sort of chicken feet, but the legs will always have that sort of little crookedness to them. But yeah, so much articulation. I can't wait to see what actual posers and photographers do with these figures, as you're going to be able to create some great displays fighting your Avengers on the shelf. Now in the films you see them running across the ground using all their arms, so I was trying to like recreate that pose, and you can sort of bend the sort of feet back so they sit flat and then sort of put his front arms on the floor, but you can't really get the head looking up. But I guess that doesn't matter too much, so if you sort of lined them up like that, maybe you could have them charging at the Avengers or something. But yeah, it gives you a few posing options, but again, I can't wait to see what people that are actually good at this do with them. But lots of potential, more potential here than you probably realise until you get them in hand. These are impressive. Crawling into comparisons, first up we have this Infinity Saga Captain America that best represents his appearance from Infinity War. This is how the Hasbro team was showing off these Outrider figures. I just really don't like that Captain America. Something is off about the head sculpt. And if you are a fan of the channel, you have probably seen me do a little action figure upgrade, and I made my very own sort of Nomad Captain America with a casting cave head sculpt, which looks so much better, I promise. There are definitely a few moments during the battle on the fields of Wakanda with this vibranium charged up Black Panther, and he looks really nice compared to these. I didn't want to dismantle my whole MCU display, but here we have Black Widow for a female comparison, and these look very impressive. Like, I can't really tell, are these out of scale? Were they this big in the film? Because she looks tiny in comparison. Here we have Bucky Barnes with his gold vibranium arm. And of course, it was in Wakanda where we seen Thanos snap his fingers and obliterate half of existence. The Outriders were definitely there to witness it, but they are massive. They are virtually as big as Thanos. How about Thanos in his full armor? Because remember, the Outriders were there during that final battle in Endgame as well, but I was still annoyed that Hasbro never gave us an actual accurate arm, as we never had the Infinity Gauntlet during that final battle with the full armor. We needed an arm with no gauntlet. And then another MCU army builder I think we need in Marvel Legends form. Here we have the Marvel Select Chitauri that they did a good while ago, which I thought was massive itself and didn't really fit into a Marvel Legends collection. But here he is standing side by side with the Outriders, which just shows you how big the Outriders are. Now granted, they didn't really stand up straight a lot during the movies, but maybe the Chitauri can work in a display after all. But the Hasbro team did say they went back and forth whether it should be a Chitauri 2-pack or an Outriders 2-pack. So you let me know in the comments below. Would you have preferred a Chitauri 2-pack for our Marvel Legends collection, or are you happy we got the Outriders? As I think we still need a Chitauri 2-pack, please Hasbro, because yeah, I don't think they're this big, but we need them in Legends form. And if you were curious, will these Outriders sort of double as comic versions for your display? Well, as always, it's your display, you create your own rules, but the character design is very similar across both live action and in the comics. So it is genuinely up to you, personal preference, dealer's choice. But as you can see, they still stand and tower over the comic figures, very imposing, and I think they look great on a display or a setup fighting the Avengers. And just to further that point, if you wanted them in a sort of a cosmic display, here we have a comic Thanos, which they are actually taller than, but again, you start posing them up, start articulating a little bit, then I think they will look great even on a comic display. But again, it's your choice. Let's wrap up with some of the Who crew. So here we have Frogman, Tigra and Hydra Bob. And then last but never least, here we have Captain Britain and Hal, Fire, Hank. Final thoughts on this Marvel Legends Marvel Cinematic Universe Outriders 2-pack, and I don't mind it being a 2-pack at all, as it makes sense, as if this was single packed I would have brought a second one anyway, as it's an army builder. It's not an individual unique character. You need at least 2 on the shelf to represent it's an army builder. There are literally thousands of them in Infinity War and Endgame. They're a part of 2 big battles and absolutely worthy of being in my display. I'm going to pose these up with the Black Order and Thanos and create a very villainous cube. And granted, they're not for everybody. These are a deep cut for the people that are world building in their collection, but I do appreciate the opportunity to add these to the collection, and I now have my fingers crossed for a Chitauri 2-pack, as I think that makes sense as well. They were the first fodder villains of the very first Avengers film, and they appeared again during the others. So yes, let's get a Chitauri 2-pack to pair up with these Outriders on the display. I will probably end up picking up another set when it's on sale, because granted it's an expensive 2-pack, but I don't mind it. They are very unique, very well articulated, and they are going to pose up great. You let me know what you think in the comments below, but if you like Marvel Legends, you are absolutely in the right place. Check out the videos tab, the live streams, but most importantly, please hit that subscribe button, hit all of the notification bell, don't miss out on the video, and please hit that join button, become a channel member if it shows some love, or join the members club. Much appreciated. You can follow me on Instagram at itsdanwho. I'm on Twitter at danwhoreviews, and I will of course see you on the next one.